Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a hidden world that exists right beneath our feet, right above our heads, and, well, pretty much everywhere. It's a world most of us just walk right past, but it is absolutely packed with hunters, builders, farmers, warriors, and some of the ultimate survivors on Earth. As we go through this explainer, you're going to see that while these creatures might be tiny, together, their total biomass outweighs humanity many times over. I mean, they are the invisible workforce out there pollinating our crops, recycling dead matter, controlling pests, and literally keeping our global ecosystems from just completely collapsing. Okay, let's dive into this, because the sheer scale of the insect kingdom is just staggering. 10 million! While scientists have officially identified only about 1 million species, that massive 10 million figure, that represents the estimated total number of insect species living today. 10 million different species! And their adaptability is completely unmatched. You can find them on every single continent on Earth, and yes, that even includes the freezing, desolate expanses of Antarctica. It's this unbelievable diversity that has allowed them to absolutely dominate the planet. So how do they pull off this global takeover? Well, we have to look at their brilliant biological framework. It's basically nature's ultimate survival blueprint. You've got a body divided into three parts: a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. Throw in exactly 6 legs, complex compound eyes, and 1 pair of antennae, and you've got a winning formula. And crucially, many species have wings. This specific anatomical setup allowed insects to become the very first animals on Earth to evolve powered flight. That was a massive evolutionary leap, right? It let them adapt to nearly every environment you can imagine, from blazing deserts and dense rainforests to freezing mountains and, of course, concrete cities. And, they've had a really long time to perfect this blueprint. We are going all the way back 400 million years to the Devonian period. Long before the very first dinosaurs ever walked the Earth, insects were already here. They were already thriving. As the very first plants began to spread across the land and ancient forests expanded, the insects were evolving right alongside them. They are truly ancient survivors. Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer scale of ancient insects. During the Carboniferous period, oxygen levels in Earth's atmosphere were vastly higher than they are today. And all that extra oxygen, it allowed insects to grow to absolutely terrifying proportions. Take the Meganora, for example. It was a giant dragonfly-like predator with a wingspan of over 70 centimeters. The skies of ancient Earth literally belonged to these giants. But as global oxygen levels eventually dropped, those massive insects died out. The smaller ones, however, were highly adaptable. They survived that dramatic atmospheric shift and just kept right on evolving into the countless species we share the world with today. Part 1. The Marvels, Masters of Flight and Secret Superpowers. Shifting our focus from prehistoric history to the modern day, we find that flight really transformed insects into one of nature's greatest success stories. Just think about this for a second. Dragonflies have such perfect aeronautical control, they can fly in literally all directions, including completely backward, and they can hit speeds over 50 kilometers per hour. Then you've got monarch butterflies taking to the skies to migrate a staggering 4,800 kilometers across entire continents. Bees are out there navigating the world using the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. And the common housefly? Its reflexes are so lightning fast it reacts to danger quicker than almost any human can physically move. For these guys, flight isn't just about getting from point A to point B, it gives them unmatched freedom, protection, and access to food sources that ground-dwelling creatures just can't reach. But honestly, flight is just the beginning. The insect world is totally packed with secret biological superpowers that seem like they belong in a comic book. Fleas can jump hundreds of times their own body length. Bombardier beetles actively defend themselves by firing sprays of literal boiling chemicals at their attackers. Water striders have these specialized legs that let them just walk right across the surface of water. And fireflies, they produce natural light through bioluminescence that is nearly 100% efficient. That means they produce almost zero wasted heat. These traits are so awe-inspiring that human scientists are actually studying these exact creatures right now to develop new human technologies, advanced materials, and even medical breakthroughs. Part 2. Complex Societies, Ants and Bees. Now let's step back from the individual superpowers for a minute and look at how certain insects organize themselves into massive, complex cities. Let's start with ants. Ant colonies are an absolute masterclass in cooperation. Every single ant has a specific, defined role. You've got workers gathering food and caring for the young, soldiers defending the colony, and a queen dedicated entirely to laying eggs. And in some colonies with millions of individuals, this teamwork reaches incredible heights. Leafcutter ants are actual farmers. They cut leaves, carry them deep underground, and use them to cultivate a specific fungus that they then eat. I mean, they invented a functioning agricultural system millions of years before humans ever planted a single seed. And then there are army ants, which take cooperation to a wild, physical extreme. They create living, structural bridges out of their own bodies so the entire colony can move forward as one unstoppable force to overwhelm their prey.
So, what does this all mean for us? Well, bees are arguably among the most important animals on Earth because, as pollinators, they help plants reproduce. Exactly 1/3 of the world's entire food production depends directly on pollination. Think about that. Without the organized societal structure of bees, many of the fruits, vegetables, and crops we rely on every single day would be incredibly difficult to produce. Their survival is quite literally tied to human survival.
And how do they coordinate this massive global pollination effort? Through one of nature's most sophisticated languages, the Waggle dance. By moving in highly specific geometric patterns, worker honeybees can communicate the exact distance and direction of blooming flowers to the rest of the hive. It's brilliant. This communication allows a hive of thousands to efficiently divide up the work. Some are out gathering food, while inside workers are busy cleaning cells, feeding the larvae, building intricate wax combs, and supporting a queen who can lay thousands of eggs in a single day.
Let's move to and see how this builds into individual transformation, specifically the breathtaking life cycle of the butterfly. It is nature's most extraordinary week-long magic trick. It starts as a simple egg. Out of that egg emerges a caterpillar, which is effectively just a biological eating machine designed for one thing: growth. Once mature, it forms a chrysalis, and inside that protective shell, its entire body completely reorganizes. It breaks down and rebuilds. Weeks later, it emerges as an adult butterfly. Those brilliant wings are covered in microscopic scales that create stunning colors and patterns, which they brilliantly use to either warn predators away or mimic poisonous species to stay safe.
Of course, it's not all peaceful pollinators and beautiful butterflies out there. The insect world is ruthless. The praying mantis waits completely motionless before striking with lightning speed. The tiger beetle sprints at just incredible speeds relative to its tiny body size. And the assassin bug? Brutal. It uses a needle-like mouthpart to pierce its prey and injects digestive enzymes that literally liquefy its victim's internal tissues. No joke. On the defensive side, survival often means disappearing completely. Stick and leaf insects boast such perfect camouflage that they look exactly like actual twigs and leaves, while moths disguise themselves as tree bark or even bird droppings. And the clever hoverfly? It doesn't even have a stinger, but it mimics the look of a dangerous wasp so convincingly that predators just leave it alone. Part 3, the human connection and existential threats. And this brilliantly illustrates our incredibly complex relationship with the insect world. We really have to look at this impartially. On one hand, human civilization is massively dependent on the benefits insects provide. They pollinate our crops, dung beetles tirelessly recycle waste, predatory bugs naturally control agricultural pests, and silkworms produce valuable silk. But on the other hand, the challenging impacts are severe. Mosquitoes spread devastating diseases like malaria, dengue fever, and yellow fever, which have killed millions of people throughout history. Meanwhile, locust swarms can literally blacken the sky and devastate entire regional food supplies. It's a really complex balance, but it's important to understand that even the harmful insects play a role in the complex food webs that maintain global ecological balance. But right now, that delicate balance is under threat. Despite 400 million years of survival success, modern insects are facing severe and growing challenges. And the major threats driving the reported worldwide population declines are, unfortunately, human-driven. Habitat destruction is rapidly paving over their natural environments. Broad chemical pesticides, while meant for pests, often indiscriminately harm beneficial species like bees and butterflies. And climate change is fundamentally altering ecosystems and confusing ancient migration patterns. So this begs a really stark question, probably the most urgent question of this entire explainer. What happens if they just disappear? If we continue to lose our insect populations, what are the real-world stakes for the rest of us? Well, the answer is pretty terrifying. Global food webs would collapse. Entire branches of the animal kingdom, birds, reptiles, amphibians, they depend on insects as their primary food source. And as we've learned, countless plant species absolutely rely on them for pollination. An ecosystem without a diverse, thriving insect population would quickly and catastrophically unravel. Protecting them isn't just about saving bugs. Protecting insects means protecting life itself. I want to wrap up this explainer with a really powerful thought from our source material. Insects are tiny, they are often overlooked, and yeah, sometimes they are feared. But they have survived mass extinctions, massive climate shifts, and dramatic environmental changes over 400 million years. So the next time you see a simple ant or a bee in your garden, remember this quote. You are witnessing the descendants of some of Earth's oldest and most successful survivors, the tiny rulers of our planet. Which leaves us with one final thought. If these tiny rulers have survived massive climate shifts over the last 400 million years, the real question is, can human civilization survive without them? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.